Tonight we're on the high plains at the University of Wyoming in Laramie. 7,220 feet above sea level inside the AA, the Arena Auditorium, as the Wyoming Cowboys host the Boise State Broncos in Mountain West Conference action. Hi again, everybody, with Dave Miller. I'm Tim Neverett. Happy you're watching college basketball with us on FS1 tonight. For the Cowboys, they need a win. They're 0-4 in conference play. They're hoping some home cooking will help. And for Boise State, they're looking for their fourth in a row. They've been helped out by Chibuzo Abo's outstanding shooting.
Well, I'll tell you, he's a 6'7" wing transfer from Texas Tech. Long, strong, extremely versatile. In league play, he's 10 for 16 from three, shooting a blistering 62%. Noah Reynolds is back, and he's out of concussion protocol. The Cowboys' leading scorer. He's got a beautiful lefty stroke, but tonight, Tim, he'll need to get to the rim as well as play make for the Pokes.
Reynolds back in the starting lineup for Wyoming. This is the 12th different starting lineup used. And for the Boise State Broncos, this is the 11th time using this same lineup. They're 9-1 in the previous 10 games they have used these starting five. Just about set to tip this one off. Wyoming at home in the whites, and then the black jerseys trimmed in orange and blue. Boise State. Broncos 13-4, 3-1 in conference play. And Wyoming wins the tip. They'll have the ball to get things going. And running the offense is Ethan Anderson. He'll play more of the one guard. Hunter Maldonado had done a lot of that. And that's how it starts with Noah Reynolds. And Reynolds fouled.
I tell you, Tim, we talked about him having a beautiful lefty stroke coming in, but it's what he does by putting the basketball on the floor. He leads the team in scoring, but his main objective is to get downhill to score or to get downhill and to kick out to teammates. He's going to be a huge problem tonight and will test the Boise defense.
Fouls on Tyson Dagenhart of Boise State, and certainly the Broncos know they need to keep him out of foul trouble. Last time they played here, he got into foul trouble, fouled out of the ball game, and Wyoming would win.
Well, that's part of the game plan. He's so good on offense, but they're going to attack him on the other end and make him defend.
Abo to Dagenhart. Dagenhart alone on the right side. Jeremiah Oden guarding him. Dagenhart, baby hook. And the rebound to the Pokes.
You're going to see both teams that have forwards, I call it flip your hip. They're going to catch it on the wing, and then they're going to Barkley your way down.
Anderson throws it to the corner. Gets it back. Max Rice guarding him. Now Maldonado.
Both teams like to spread out, 5 out, 4-1 in. You're going to see a lot of good basketball trying to get paint all night long.
Oden with a right hand cut off. 5 seconds to shoot. Long three. In and out. That is tipped and knocked out of bounds by Boise State. Wyoming will have possession.
Well, some of the keys for the game tonight, Boise State can't allow Maldonado to take over this game, scoring and playmaking. They got to make him one-dimensional, and then they need to weather the storm in terms of the altitude. For Wyoming, it starts with the T's, transition defense. Don't turn over the ball.
Reynolds catch and shoot, rebound. And that would be heading back to Boise State on a push-off.
Well, Tim, I love this Boise State team. They're the defending Mountain West regular season champs and the postseason champs. That's only been done 3 times ever in the league, but they've got a great mix of experience. I love Shaver and Rice, and they've got some good developing young pieces.
Max Rice, bullet pass to Dagenhart, and he dumps it off to Najee Smith. Loose ball battled for and won by Anderson of Wyoming.
I love the resistance Wyoming's giving on the other end.
Maldonado couldn't finish. Broncos in transition. Smith to Shaver. Shaver, an excellent shooter for Boise State. He's in traffic, needs some help, and Dagenhart takes over. And that will be goaltending. That was pinned up against the backboard.
And I'd like to see Maldonado do a better job pinning him to the sideline. When you look at his feet, they were not squared to the sideline. That's what gave the driving angle. Right there, he sort of side saddles them, and I know they're the Cowboys, but you want to keep them in front, keep your shoulders parallel to the dribbler's shoulders.
Score the bucket for Dagenhart. Dagenhart coming off of a 17-point performance against UNLV in the last outing on the road.
Love the spacing. There's the back down. That's what I mean by the Barkley. They just want to bump and grind, get inside.
And Oden took the extra step, lost the pivot, and the ball back to Boise State.
On both sides, when that becomes a problem, now you'll see the chess match. Will the double come, and then will either team be able to kick it out to their shooters on the perimeter?
It'll be interesting, too, to watch as this game goes, how the matchups develop, how they'll switch off. Will they continue with the same man-to-man throughout the course of this game? You doubt it.
Yeah. Well, remember, this is teacher versus student. Coach Linder used to work at Boise State for 6 years for Leon Rice.
Degenhardt the miss, and the rebound and the stick back for Abo.
The one thing that I've seen Jeff Linder's teams do in the past, they like to exploit mismatches. So they're going to work till they get a mismatch, and then they're going to go at it.
Polo has it stolen by Degenhardt. Ahead to Max Rice, who'll set things up. No, he'll launch a three, and he'll get a three.
When you're the coach's son, which he is, you can take that shot. But he also takes that shot because he works on it in practice. Heads-up play.
5-point early lead for Boise State. Reynolds lobs inside. Maldonado for two.
He just gives it to you inside out. He play makes. He's played every position you could imagine at the University of Wyoming. Talk about versatility.
1,911 career points for Maldonado. Continues to climb the Cowboys' all-time scoring list. Rice in and out on the three.
It almost looks like Wyoming sort of daring him to shoot. Seeing what they can do. Sort of a cat-mouse game, if you will.
Then Anderson hands off to Maldonado. Now Reynolds given space. Loose ball taken by Degenhardt. Degenhardt pumps it ahead to Rice. Now it's cornered for Abo. He'll miss on the three, but a big rebound from behind by Smith. He can't connect, and Maldonado sends it down court. Reynolds off the glass and good.
I talked about it in the open. We know he can shoot it, but it's going to be those downhill drives that's going to put pressure on Boise State's defense.
Well, he had Degenhardt in a back pedal, and in a vulnerable position, he took advantage.
And as an offensive player, when you see that, it's attack mode.
Najee Smith for three.
But he really has a unique game. I mean, he's sort of the master of unplanned production. You don't think he's going to shoot that shot, but his feet were set. He caught it, seamed it up, and he let it rip.
10-6 Broncos. Ball inside for Maldonado, knocked away by Smith. That's off of Maldonado, and that'll head back to Boise State. But Noah Reynolds getting the scoring going in this ball game. He missed the last three due to a concussion, but he is back for the Cowboys. The last time these two teams met was in the semifinals in Las Vegas at the Mountain West Tournament. Abo Kijab and Milad Narmish scored the first 15 for the Broncos on their way to 22 and 16 points respectively. Boise State led by as many as 17 in the game. Graham Ike for Wyoming had 18 for the Cowboys. They cut the lead to 3 half a minute ago, but couldn't finish the deal. Boise ended up leading wire to wire. They won it 68-61. Played each other 3 times last year. Boise State winning 2 of the 3. And a tremendous series. And rivalry really developing. The states that border one another.
Well, with both these coaches working together, there's really no surprises. Each one knows what the other is thinking. That's what makes this such a fun game.
Chase Whiting into the ball game, throws it off the rim and no good. It is taken back by Anderson. Anderson, ball on the floor to the basket, foul before the shot.
Doesn't Ethan Anderson look like a football player? I'm really familiar with him from Los Angeles and his time at USC. He was a transfer, but he's built like an NFL running back. And when he gets that head of steam going right there, he plays the game low to high, and he absorbs contact trying to get to the rim. He's what I call a punishing point guard.
Anderson on the baseline will trigger the inbound to Reynolds.
I really like the aggressiveness that we're seeing on the other end for Wyoming and is parlaying on this end.
Reynolds muscling his way to the bucket, but it's taken away by Abo, and Boise State back with the basketball. Rice dribbles it off a foot. Loose ball. It's a held ball. The possession arrow favors the Broncos.
Listen, with the huge loss of Graham Ike, who was the preseason pick to be player of the year, I really like the way this team has come out. Their record doesn't indicate, okay, how good this team is. They've been in a lot of close games. You know, this is a team that's competing, trying to make do until they can get everybody healthy.
Max Rice checked out. Kobe Young checks in. He's got the basketball. Lucas Milner also playing at the high post, setting a screen. 5 seconds to shoot. Cornered for Young. Short on the three. Anderson on the run out with Maldonado. Maldonado cut off, shovels it back outside, and that's good for three. Noah Reynolds.
This team has been in a training room a lot, but what the doctor ordered, Noah Reynolds coming out, just giving offensive input and efficiency.
First three-pointer for Wyoming, and a turnover, an offensive foul, so the ball back to the Cowboys.
You know, speaking about Wyoming, and they're having that tough start. You know, last year they were 25-9. They were 14-1 at home, and it all started with their defense being able to slide their feet. And when they can go and get going on defense, that always usually initiates their offense. They're an opportunistic fast break team. They've had some nice pushes. Now they're going to have to execute in the half court.
Wyoming a chance to take the lead with this possession. Powell has it stripped. Caden Powell, 6'10" freshman out of Waco, Texas, in the game for Wyoming.
You know, Tim, what I was saying a little bit ago, and I cut off it, last year they were 25-9, 14-1 at home here, and they lost that first 4 game to Indiana. So this is a team that knows how to win.
Reynolds ducks around Young, misses the three, and the rebound to Najee Smith.
Boise State very good in transition, especially off a miss when they can get it and go. Now they go to their half-court execution, 4 out, 1 in.
Boise State hoping they get more offense in the first half from Shaver, but it's Smith for 3. And the Broncos now lead by 4.
Smith, you really don't have to run stuff for him. You know, the ball sort of finds him, and he's just taking what the defense is giving him, Tim.
Anderson. Into the lane he goes and forces that one up. Shaver back with it. He had 1 point against UNLV in the last game in the first half. He finished with 15. Big second half, as did the Broncos. They shot the lights out, shot better than 70%, shot better than 60% from 3.
Well, that's the responsibility of the defense, not to let shooters get into a rhythm, be there on the catch, make them put it on the floor.
Smith cut off. Front rim, and Anderson gets the rebound. Ahead for Maldonado. And a foul, a reach-in foul on Najee Smith.
I have to tell you, I imagine that Boise State was going to be pushing the ball the way Wyoming is right now.
That's a second foul on Smith, and the team's 4th. We're talking to Leon Rice about keys, don't get in foul trouble.
One of the biggest ones. You know, and Wyoming, conversely, they only have about 11 fouls a game, so they do a great job of defending without fouling.
They are the top team in the Mountain West in terms of committing the fewest fouls per game. They don't have any so far in this one.
Those are the bunnies that you got to hit. Anderson's missed one. He's missed one. You've got to be able to finish in the paint.
Inside, Degenhart for 2. 4 points now for Tyson Degenhart. We're watching him shoot earlier today, shoot around. His teammates are calling him Degatron.
Well, remember, he was the freshman of the year last year in the Mountain West. Good player.
Rebound to Albo, ahead to Shaver. Now Whiting, wide open look at a 3. Missed everything. That's going to go out of bounds. And back to Wyoming.
Well, Degenhart, Tim, is the heartbeat of this team. When you can get him going on both ends of the floor, it's Shaver, he sees him, it's a no-look pass, square up, get the easy deuce. Broncos up 15-9.
Well, Jeff Linder is in his 3rd season as the head coach of Wyoming, but he cut his teeth at Boise State for 6 seasons under Leon Rice.
I'll tell you, Tim, he told both of us that he really owes a lot of this to Coach Rice. And he said at Boise, it was interesting to you and me, that Coach Rice has an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator, which means they delegate things. So he didn't look over your shoulder. He let you do your job. Those are the kind of coaches that you want to work for. And I'll add one thing in there. Nobody gives Coach Linder credit. He found Damian Lillard. He signed Damian Lillard at Weber State. So Damian Lillard can thank his whole career to Jeff Linder.
Yeah, Jeff's done a good job. 124 and 81 since taking over here at Wyoming. 22nd head coach in Wyoming history.
So, Tim, look at this. A lot more pep in the step by Boise State. A little bit more urgency right here on the defensive end.
Reynolds pass underneath to Maldonado, taken away by the Broncos. Degenhart up ahead to Max Rice, who's back in the game. Rice working down the lane, cut off. He'll just fire one up. He gets the roll.
Boy, did you see that strong dribble, a low center of gravity, just pounded it and pounded it, got to his spot, was able to get it up in the rim and drop it down.
Max Rice is the middle of the three Rice brothers. Older brother Brock, younger brother Cade. Cade is redshirting this year with Boise State. Maldonado hits the three. Maldonado, 5 points.
He's a coach's dream. He brings it on the offensive end, then he comes down here and he defends.
Shaver double. Missed by Ngonga.
With Boise State, long shots, long rebounds. They got to get on the offensive glass.
Reynolds, who is the leading scorer in the game with 7, missed that one.
Good block out by Degenhart.
Shaver around the screen. Degenhart for 3. And the rebound for Reynolds.
See, that time I didn't see one Boise State player go to the offensive glass. A shot goes up, good offensive rebounders assume every shot's a miss.
Maldonado down the lane, kicks it out. Maldonado looking for help in the game. Xavier Dussel has got the basketball now. He'll try a 3, and he'll hit. Xavier Dussel, 6'4" junior out of Scottsdale, Arizona, comes off the bench hot.
You got to know the scouting report. He can shoot it. He's got deep range, and he's made the winning plays so far I've seen in conference play.
Shaver guarded by Reynolds. Now Rice.
Good defense.
You just fire one up, and, well, just like you do in the playground.
And better offense by Rice. Man, he was good. He was moving his feet. He was showing his hands. And Rice was just able to go up and knock it down. But right here, let's watch the 3. There's Maldonado as a playmaker. He could have taken it, but he decides to pass it out on target, on time. And then you got Boise State coming in the paint. Look at that strong pivot. When you've got confidence, you just go up and you knock it down. That was pretty good defense by Dussel, but better offense by Max Rice.
And the foul was on Boise State's Shadrach Ngonga. 5 team fouls for the Broncos. Wyoming still without a foul.
I love the patience and the perseverance to get downhill. Now they just got to finish. That's the 3rd easy bunny they've missed.
Shaver gets the screen, and he's fouled. And was he outside the arc or not? That'll be the question.
Well, both teams like to play out. I said 5-on-0 outside, 4-on-1, but they also run a lot of ball screens, and it puts pressure on the defense. Do you go over top? Do you go underneath? And that all comes from the scouting report. If it's a non-shooter, you go under. If it's someone that can come off and knock it down, you've got to fight over the top. I think they're looking, Tim, to see if it's a 2 or a 3 right now, and they're headed over there to the monitor.
So was I at first.
And let's take a look here.
It's close. The question will be, is the front of his right foot on the line? It looked like the left foot was certainly behind the line.
Yeah, I mean, in real time, I thought it was a 3, but the Zebras are going to know. But let's look at a better angle. The zebra was in our way. I thought they used to just get in my way when I was coaching, but I really couldn't get a good look at that. I'm going to call it right now. He's going to shoot 3.
Initially, when Mike Greenstein went over to the scorer's table, he called for 3 shots.
I think it's going to be 3. No question about it. But I've been wrong before.
Well, there's a second time for everything. Shaver will go to the line and shoot 3.
I think there were a lot of people in the Miller household praying after all the times I told you it was a 3, that it came true.
He'll have 2 more.
You know, I don't think Shaver gets enough credit to transfer from Portland, but he's one of the best ball-in-hand point guards on the West Coast. He leads his team in points, rebounds, and steals, and he just likes to hit clutch shots.
73% from the free throw line. He's 1 for 2. Season high in points against the Nevada Wolfpack, 22.
You know, when you coach, you just say, he's that guy. Whether he's your guy or you're coaching against him, he's that guy. He just makes a lot of good things happen, and he can do it individually, and he gets it done collectively as the leader of this team.
You'll get a seat. It'll be interesting, too, as the game goes on to watch how Boise State substitutes tonight here at better than 7,000 feet above sea level. The altitude can play some tricks on you, especially late in a game here.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a real thing. When I was in the NBA with the New Orleans Hornets, we played the Nuggets. You could feel it.
He's in and out. Polo could not connect. Dagenhart.
Like poise and patience in the post. Read it.
Dagenhart doubled, tripled, kicks it out to White, and now Rice. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Rice will back in, just fire one up. And he's just got that going for him tonight. He's had a couple of those desperation buckets early.
I tell you, that's just grit and perseverance. And, you know, we know he's a heady player. He's a coach's son. But that just shows the toughness where he's got his head on a swivel. He doesn't rush, and he knows that if he can get it up, he has low center of gravity. I think he's got really good lower body strength to be able to get it up over on the rim and see if it will drop. And it did.
Dussel the foul, his first.
You know, his biggest improvement, Max Rice, so far this season from a year ago is putting the ball on the floor. Not necessarily the back down, but anywhere on the court. He worked on that in the offseason.
Anderson using the glass for 2.
Well, that's what I said, man. He just punished you, absorbs contact, squared his shoulders, goes up, and he was the LA City Player of the Year. They need point production out of him.
Interesting watching him play, how deep he can get with that penetration dribble.
Yeah, and that's all lower body strength. I tell you what, if Wyoming, if they can get on the defensive end, they can score some more offense.
Pistol Pete going to work tonight. He can cut a rug. 24-17, Boise State. Here's the current standing. San Diego State on top in conference play. Steve Alford's Nevada Wolfpack. Big win last night against Utah State. They're in second place right now with Boise State, Utah State there. And how about Tim Miles and the job he's done at San Jose State?
Talk about a program builder. He did it at Colorado State. He's doing it in the Mountain West. And, you know, Tim, when you look at these rankings, you know, I don't know how many teams are going to go, but San Diego State, definitely the standard, the best non-conference schedule. Utah State, 5 top 100 wins. And Boise State, I think they are elite defensively.
Anderson fouled by Rice on his way to the bucket. That's Rice's first foul.
I like when he gets that head of steam right there. It's a little hesitation. And again, look at how low his shoulders were. A good downhill driver, regardless of your position, gets your shoulders at the level of the defender. That's what creates the separation.
Nathan Anderson from Los Angeles. Shaver getting a high screen from Dagenhart. He'll just pull up. Dead on 3.
I told you he's that guy. That's a big-time, tough shot. Contested off the dribble.
Lead is 8, 27-19. Anderson.
Tough pass, threading the needle.
Doing it with a bounce as well. Well, that ball goes in. What a shot. As you're not going to see that go in very often. Jeremiah Oden. He'll want to see that over and over.
Yeah, we should get 3 replays, but there you see Milner receiving the ball. With Boise State, if you cut and you make a hard cut, there's a good chance you're going to receive the deuce. A very unselfish team that likes to share the wealth.
6'10" grad student. Always good to have extra eligibility. Doesn't hurt. Here comes Reynolds. Right around him this time. It's in and out. Shaver yanks it down.
I love the aggressiveness of Wyoming to put pressure on Boise's defense getting downhill. They're going to have to correct that in the second half.
Another screen for Rice. Now Degenhart spots up. Short on the three. Maldonado will try to run it out.
Wyoming giving Boise a taste of their own business, being able to push it off miss. There's Maldonado where he play makes as good as anybody in the country.
See Maldonado, he's got the cotton swab in the nose. Heading to the last break, he got hit in the nose just before the timeout was called. Young with a basketball for Boise State.
Like to see a little bit more hand pressure. I want them to trace the basketball when they're manned up in single coverage.
And Shaver pulls up. Long rebound out to Rice. Poked from behind by Maldonado, one-on-one with Shaver. Now Reynolds comes in, but that's a finger roll, good for two.
Boy, talk about athleticism and being able to contort your body and to collect yourself. Maldonado doing it on both ends of the floor. 7
points for Hunter Maldonado.
You can see right here on the catch, he takes it to his outside hand, a semi-Euro step, being able to score up, and then he just soars. He makes it look easy. I guess it's easy when you learn how to fly.
It would be, wouldn't it? I would think.
Well,
not everybody can do it, though. But Maldonado, with that basket, continues to climb up the all-time scoring list at Wyoming, and he's not too far behind some of the all-time greats here. Eric Lechner, he'll be able to catch relatively soon. Fennis Dembo is the guy he's shooting for. 2,311 points all time.
Great player out of San Antonio, Texas. The first thing I did when I came into the arena yesterday, I looked for his jersey. You know, I think it was Jim Brandenburg, and again, I don't do notes when I do games, and I think Brandenburg was here and coached him. I think there was an assistant here I worked at Texas with, Jesse Evans, and I was a big Fennis Dembo fan.
For Maldonado, he is the only player in college basketball who's got more than 1,500 points, 600 rebounds, and 500 assists. So he has been getting it done for the Pokes. Dussel gives it off to Odom. He'll just throw up a running one-hander, no good.
Don't like to say bad shots, but that was a shot that I wouldn't have liked if I was on the coaching staff sitting on that bench. You got to get a better shot, especially that early in the clock.
Degenhart, low block on the left. And a foul will be whistled on Wyoming. Odom.
The one key about playing defense, especially in the post, you've got to play defense without your hands. You've got to body them up, show your hands to the official, absorb the contact on the chest. You've got to have resistance.
It's just the fourth team foul here in the first half for Wyoming. 5:10 to go, first half of play. And Degenhart with the easy lay-in.
Great help side by Maldonado, but when you get 2 feet in the paint and you're that deep, something bad is going to happen to the defense.
6 points for Tyson Degenhart. Spokane, Washington. Now Anderson cut off.
Great downhill drive, and then watch the strong pivot by all the Cowboys. Well coached and well versed.
And Rice with the rebound. Boise State has won 3 straight games, looking for their 4th straight in conference play. Overall, they've won 12 of the last 14. Degenhart is out. Odom will get a seat for Wyoming. Caden Powell back in.
Dussel doing a great job on Abo, not letting him see any daylight to get him started offensively.
Nice to Najee Smith. Another miss, and Powell with the rebound.
Nice rebound by the freshman. He's got to get in the weight room and get strong, but he's got really good instincts.
That's a guy I think that the Cowboys will be counting on in the future. But getting some important reps here now. Really pass to Smith. From Rice, gives it back to Shaver for 3, and it's no good.
Boise's had a bunch of balls go in the rim and just flip back out. They're getting good looks. They're in rhythm.
And Maldonado flying to the bucket. Good for 2, and he's got 9.
This Wyoming team has a lot of rhythm on the offensive end, but I think it's being generated by their defense.
Scramble. Here's Reynolds. That one he's got to have.
That might be the 4th or 5th chippy that they've missed, and then he compounds it by fouling, 55 feet from the ground. But Maldonado has put it into second gear. He can do it inside, outside. But when he gets out on the floor, he's got one thing on his mind, the crossover. He splits 2 defenders. Wyoming cut it to 6.
Boise State leading Wyoming 31-25, 3:25 to go in the first half. While we have a moment, I want to wish Kent Kemble and his family the best tonight. Kent really wanted to watch this game. Born and raised in Treasure Valley, he has been a long-time season ticket holder for both football and basketball at Boise State, and we understand that Kent really wanted to watch this game tonight, and we are thinking about you, Kent. Everybody in the Boise State uniform tonight is thinking about you and your family, and they're going to try to get you a good result tonight. So the Broncos with a basketball out of the timeout. Shaver to Milner.
Good pressure on that pass, not to let it go inside by Powell. Active hands, live feet always help you on defense.
Give and go, and Degenhart puts that one down for 2. He's got 8 points.
Nice two-man game. When the defender goes over with the ball handler, someone's got to be there to tag and touch the roller.
Ducell to Powell. Wells down the middle. It is swatted away. Rice has it. Rice with 10 points in the game. And Boise State all-time 21-4 when he has 10 or more points. So when Max Rice goes well, so do the Broncos.
He's one of those really reliable guys on both ends of the floor, and I think he knows how to attack pressure. He understands spacing. I mean, heck, he's lived with the coach all his life. He's got to know the game.
And it's funny because talking to Leon Rice, it was last year. I said, "What's it like in practice? Do you call him by name? How do you handle it?" That one's knocked in by Milner. He said, "No, he's just 12. He's just number 12."
I love that.
He says he's 12. He's no more than that at practice, but at home it's different. And Anderson spinning to the bucket and scoring for Wyoming.
Needed and timely, as I said. That's what Ethan Anderson needs to do. He can get down the lane. He's extremely physical. He covets contact. Strong finish. Good play.
Shaver getting a high screen. Screen and roll by Degenhart, but he didn't get the ball back. And Shaver one-hands it in for 2.
The one trend I'm seeing right now, Boise State is getting into the paint. The resistance has lessened a little bit. Wyoming's got to wall it off and make the Broncos play sideline to sideline, not north to south.
Well, Shaver right now halfway to a triple-double, 7 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. The largest lead for Boise State at 10. And that's cut into by Ducell.
Big-time shot by Ducell, but I got to give credit to Maldonado. He attracted a double team, and he knew it exactly where Ducell was, and it was a zip pass.
So now the Pokes fans on their feet. 7-point difference, just over a minute to go in the half.
What they need are consecutive stops on this end to close that gap.
Nice cut off on the left side of the lane. And he calls back.
Where he's got 6 shots in the paint, just willing it in. I mean, they're not a textbook shot. He just gets in there and knocks it down.
Ducell for 3 to answer.
Well, you can't let him get into a rhythm. I told you, catch and shoot, put it on the floor. Right now, it's like an Earth, Wind, and Fire concert. Ducell is starting to get a rhythm, and he's grooving tonight.
He is 3 for 3 from beyond the arc off the bench. And Shaver back the other way, smooth as silk for 2.
Big-time shot. Did you see him going to his left, off balance, being able to knock that bad boy down?
Shot clock dead for the remainder of the half. And Wyoming will slow it down here. Spread out the floor. Maldonado with a basketball.
So interesting. You got 2 lead guards down there in Anderson and Reynolds. Look who's out top 1-4, a playmaker extraordinaire.
Maldonado trying to dribble through traffic, but he's fouled. Foul will be on Shaver.
Well, you know, Wyoming, Tim, they returned 8 players from that NCAA tournament team I talked about, and Reynolds and Maldonado lead them in scoring. But, you know, they get 38 points from 3. That's like 30th in the nation. But what's amazing me is their tempo. They're 320-something in tempo. They've been pushing it tonight.
Maldonado missing. And Boise State will get the last shot from half court. That might have been the only shot for Max Rice that didn't fall. But Max Rice with 12 points to lead the Broncos into the locker room at the half. 41-33. Boise State with the lead. Rice 5 for 6 from the field. We're at the Arena Auditorium, Mountain West basketball in FS1. Boise State with a halftime lead. Stand by, our halftime activities coming up. Halftime score, Boise State 41, Wyoming 33. You're looking at the Arena Auditorium here in Laramie, Wyoming. And nice to toast the inside with Dave Miller, Tim Neverett. Your first half thoughts, Coach. I know that Boise State won the battles in the paint. They won the battles on the glass. What are some of your thoughts?
Well, that's been the key. I like 24 of their 41 points, Tim, have been in the lane, so they're not settling for threes. Now, if you're Wyoming, you got to go back and you've got to wall them off. You've got to make them shoot perimeter shots and be there on the catch and contest.
Well, one of the big factors, Max Rice for Boise State. First half numbers, 12 points, 5 for 6 from the field, and some of them were pretty unorthodox and unusual.
Well, it's just strong pivot feet. It's trying to stay low to high, and he just puts it up, and he's got the lower body strength to be able to knock down shots, but you've got to credit his teammates. They're feeding the hot hand.
This is the 4th time this season and 3rd straight game Wyoming has allowed 40-plus points in the first half. So defense will need to be a key for them in half number 2. Stand by, more to come at the half. Max Rice leading all scorers with 12 points. Marcus Shaver with 9. And then 9 each for Maldonado and Xavier Dussel. That's off the bench too, by the way. 3 for 3 from behind the arc for Xavier Dussel for Wyoming.
Well, Wyoming's done a great job of getting the ball downhill to finish, getting the ball downhill, some drawing doubles, others just kicking out to finishing. It's all about spacing, ball movement. We always say the ball will find an open shot.
Well, a halftime lead has been good for Boise State. They're 11-1 this year when leading at the break. For Wyoming, a different story, 1-8 when trailing at the half.
Well, I think for Boise, they're going to have to guard the three-point line. The Cowboys are shooting 42% from deep. They've got to limit Maldonado in the paint. And then one of the biggest things down here, they've got to contain dribble penetration.
Because even though they're down by, 8 points, it's they're still shooting relatively well from 3. And that could be a factor late. The foul as we get going here as Najee Smith is called for. Correction, that'll be on Shaver. That personal foul. 2 shots for Odom. He knocks down the first.
Well, like coming out, Wyoming made a concerted effort to space it, to get it down low, looking to play inside out.
And the second one's good. Maldonado not on the floor to start the second half. He is still in the locker room, we're told. He cannot get his nose to stop bleeding.
Or he really took a shot in that first half.
It stopped for a little while, but at halftime it just kept on going. And that one is good by Alba. So we'll see if and when Hunter Maldonado gets back on the floor for Wyoming. Anderson in the lane, just tried to throw it up over the rim. Najee Smith on the rebound, off to Shaver.
Good job fighting over that screen.
Dagan Hart, long 3 is good.
It was good to see him early on, if you're a Bronco fan, to get the ball through the hole. We mentioned, he was freshman of the year, but he's a guy that's got to score inside and outside, coming off that career night at UNLV the other night with 17 points, 12 rebounds.
Leads the team with 15 games this year with 10 or more points.
You know what's interesting about him, as you see him get on the floor there? He's a guy that does all the dirty work, yet he can still fill up the stat sheet. Usually when your guy says, guy's a glue guy, he does all the dirty work, he doesn't have numbers. He puts up big numbers. I mean, he can get you a double-double on any given night.
Trying to work on another one here tonight.
Abo's a little bit more aggressive coming out in the second half.
Shaver dribbling in traffic. Draws the crowd, kicks it to the corner. Abo, 3!
But they've got him 2 in a row. Again, coming out with an aggressiveness that they're going to move the ball and they're going to go up and take those shots, hit him in the corner. Not a good job by Wyoming to be there on the catch.
Largest Bronco lead now at 15 points. And this one is off the mark and a foul.
Degenhardt definitely made some contact. I mean, you want your defensive player to go up straight. The principal verticality is for both the offense and the defense, but it was an easy call by the Zebras to see the contact, putting Noah Reynolds on the free throw line.
Second foul on Degenhardt in the game. Shot falls.
What I didn't like about that shot is that he shot it and he started to lean over. You got to put your hand in the rim, finish on your toes, hold that gooseneck.
Because he was behind the line, he'll get a third shot.
It's interesting, Tim. Most people don't know 2 basketballs, regulation can fit inside a regulation rim at the same time. So all you got to do is get it up and over.
That's all. That's easy. Easy for you to say.
Well, you know my stats. I was a very good free throw shooter. They're free. They can't be guarded.
So far in the second half for Boise State, they are 3 for 3 from the field, 3 for 3 from behind the arc.
I like the defense by Odin.
Shaver makes it 3 for 4 from behind the big stripe. Ducell, he's got a long one lined up. That's his first miss.
Good look. Like the push game, had Max Rice backpedaling, able to make that pass to the opposite wing.
Rice will get a screen from Degenhardt. Jay Smith in the corner.
Both teams just like to Barkley and back you down and make a post move.
What a move by Smith for 2 more. State continues to build on their lead.
Tim, he can take you outside, then he can take you in. You're sagging off. He'll hit a perimeter jump shot. He can score it from a variety of places on the floor.
8 points for Smith. And a hand on Ducell from Max Rice.
That's defensively, you just got to step slide. You've got to keep your head on the ball, and that prevents, I call it, that's walling off. That prevents the offense from being able to get downhill. If your head's on the ball, the offensive player will have a very difficult time getting by your shoulders.
Shaver comes out, and Jace Whiting will come in. Freshman out of Burley, Idaho.
Yeah, we haven't talked about him much, but his dad played at Utah and BYU. His mom currently is the head coach at BYU, and his sister's a big-time high school player.
Nate Barnhart is on the floor for Wyoming. His first time coming off the bench. He traveled, and it's turned over by Noah Reynolds. Jeff Linder telling us today he knows he had 5 wins. He couldn't remember the losses.
Right. Hey, I got good news for you.
It's hard when you're a coach to talk about that side of the ledger.
You want some great news?
Yeah.
Maldonado's back and just checked in. His nose stopped bleeding.
There he is. Well, Milner in for Boise State. Hand off for Rice. Rice with a left-hand dribble. Pulls up in traffic. And Ducell, the rebound for Wyoming. Wyoming 0 for 3 from the field here in the second half. Now 0 for 4 as Reynolds gets the miss. And a foul is called near the stripe, and that'll be whistled on Lucas Milner.
I know Reynolds is the leading scorer, and he's got pretty much unlimited range, but sometimes offensively, I'd like to see him get it to the second or the third side of the offense. I want to see Wyoming move the pieces. I always call it chess or checkers. You've got to move pieces and then gain an advantage. I think he could have got that shot then or 15 seconds later in the shot clock.
Reynolds dumps it off, and Odom is fouled on his way to the bucket. He'll have a couple of shots. And that'll be the 5th team foul for Boise State already in the second half. Wyoming has yet to commit a foul.
You know, Tim, I love Oden's game. I talked about his athleticism earlier, and you can see the talent. But, you know, when you have to guard him, he's definitely a threat lob because you can throw it up and he'll catch it. I think he makes really hard cuts. He's shown us that he can be a straight-line driver, but defensively, he's just long. He plays in a stance, and he tries to keep his man in front.
So Rice is out, and coming in is Pavle Kuzmanovic. His first time off the bench, so 3 fouls for Rice. He'll sit for a little bit. Jeremiah Oden, who had 13 points against Utah State, couldn't get that one up over the rim. Bravo, Milner, now Whiting. And a foul on the far wing. It'll be committed by Oden.
Really like the push right there and the urgency and the zip on the pass by Boise State to try and get it to all sides. You know, Kuzmanovic, doesn't matter how many minutes he plays, you can rely on him to do good things. I've seen him play extended minutes or short, and he has an effect on the game.
Inside Milner.
Great offensive rebound by Milner.
Kuzmanovic down the lane. The Serbian knocks it down for his first points of the game.
Well, when you have that many syllables in your name, you know the guy can shoot. Okay, and like I said, he makes winning plays regardless of the minutes.
Wyoming has not made a field goal this half. The last one came with 49 seconds remaining in the first half.
There's that cat mouse by Whiting.
Barnhart. Rainbow three.
Cardinal mistake by Boise State. You can't let him make that pass. That side baseline is supposed to be a 6th defender. Great execution, great catch and shoot by Nate.
Lead is 13 for the Broncos.
That was their first basket, right, partner?
It was first field goal of the second half. And it scraped the roof of this dome on the way down. Abo with an off-balance three.
He's trying to find contact and shoot it. You know, he's great at drawing fouls. Against UNLV, he had back-to-back consecutive threes where he was fouled. He made one 4-point play, missed the one, and it stayed at a 3.
Abo now with 11 points. When he gets 10 or more, Boise State is 9-2.
Really like the idea of trying to get it inside, but Abo at 6'7", the transfer from Texas Tech, gets it inside. He rises up. He pulls it up. Abo puts him up 57-41. The Broncos lead.
Folks, fans dancing on a Saturday night at the AA in Laramie. 16 points, the advantage for Boise State. How good is the basketball being played in the Mountain West right now? Let's take a look at the average net rankings by conference right now. The Mountain West is 5th, and that is ahead of the Pac-12 and the ACC.
Well, Tim, every night you go out, it's never easy. I mean, Boise State, the defending champs. Nevada, the most connected I've seen them in a while. Utah State knocks down threes at a clip. San Diego State, I already mentioned, they're sort of a standard. New Mexico, those two bigs have really helped out House and Mashburn. Omari Moore at San Jose State has gotten better. It's a good league every night.
Abo to the basket. He's fouled. He'll have an and one here. Yeah, just to continue on, you know, Brian Dutcher's got the Aztecs back in the top 25 again.
Here you see going downhill. Abo gets it in there. He's able to draw paint. I mean, right there, he splits 4 Wyoming defenders. But yeah, any given night, UNLV's dynamic. They've lost 2 home games in a row. That's really going to hurt them. But this Wyoming team, you can't count out. They've been bothered and beat up, and they're just trying to get healthy.
Boise State went into Las Vegas and took care of the Rebels, and then UNLV was shocked late today by Colorado State.
Yeah, so this is how you figure it out as a coach. You're supposed to win at home, okay? If you can split on the road, you have a chance, okay? But if you can sweep, those are the teams that have a chance to win conference championships.
Through the hands of Barnhart and out of bounds, back to Boise State.
And in this league, it's extremely hard to win on the road because you've got great venues, you've got great crowds. I mean, tonight, it's cold, it's a late start, and this place has a good crowd coming in here to cheer the Cowboys on.
We were talking to Leon Rice quite a while earlier today about conference play, and he said it's just so different in a good way. He said, but if you come with your C game, you're going to be toast. He says you have to play your A game all the time in the conferences.
Yeah, I mean,
it's so competitive top to bottom.
You used to be able to go into San Jose State and you could play a C game and you could win on talent. Tim Miles has changed that. You know, Colorado State, Coach Medved, he's sort of feeling the effect of not having David Roddy. You know, but again, he's a group that has had injuries, and you know, Isaiah Stevens is trying to run the ship there for him.
And Joe Scott's Air Force team went into Colorado State, went into Fort Collins, and beat them.
Well, everybody wanted him fired, and look what he did. Young kids that have gotten better, they're more experienced, and that's a tough system to guard.
Dagenhart fouled on his way to the bucket. Barnhart will pick up his second personal foul.
I just love Boise State coming out this half. In the first half, it was Wyoming. Now you've got Dagenhart getting down the lane, and like I said, bad things happen. You want to have the dribblers level off and go from sideline to sideline because these teams are talented enough off the dribble to finish or create for others.
Tyson Dagenhart adding to his total. 12 points for him. Just 2 rebounds for Dagenhart tonight, but they haven't really needed to rely on his rebounds. Checking out is Abonkpolo. Rebounds have come from Abo with 6 and Shaver with 5.
It's amazing when you have a guard that can lead your team in rebounding because all good teams have guards that like to rebound down and help the bigs.
Maldonado. One-hand pass out to Oda. Wyoming in the second half, 1 for 6 from the field. And that one was that rainbow 3 from Nate Barnhart.
They stopped getting points off their dribble penetration to the hoop. Too easy of a pass. You've got to pressure it on the perimeter. You don't want Dagenhart to get in that post for an ISO.
With 4 to shoot. Did not get the rim.
It wasn't a bad shot. It was low duress on the shot clock, but what great defense by Maldonado to be there and to contest that. What a high release Abo has.
Largest lead for Boise State now, 20. And on a 7-0 scoring run currently. Ducell with the left hand scores.
That's what Wyoming needed. They're struggling to make perimeter shots. What do? You put it on the floor and you get to the 10.
Under 12 and a half remaining in the second half.
This is the end, though, Tim, where they've got to start getting stops, and it's got to be consecutive. It's got to be score right now, off that turnover, come back down, get 2 or 3 more stops.
Hook pass, Ducell spots. And another rebound for Shaver. That's his 6th. He's been playing in the land of the Giants in terms of getting the basketball back. Dagenhart finds Shaver. Shaver has hit some big shots for Boise State in his 3 years. There's a block. Barnhart put it right back at him.
Well, he's come in and had an impact on both ends of the floor for Wyoming.
Reynolds off the glass and the foul.
You know what we say as coaches, when you can get stops, you can create easy transition off your defense.
So you're not going to do it all at once, but you can do it a little at a time, and that's what Wyoming is trying to do.
But if you can block a shot and you can get down there you see Big Red with the block, and what does Reynolds do? He finishes kiss off the glass.
11:47 left in the second. 61-45. I know you left your suit, your pinstripe suit like that at home. I'm glad you did. Graham Ike not here yet. He has not played in the game this season due to injury, but you know, last year, what a season he had, averaging nearly 20 points a game. He led this team to 27 wins, and what are they missing without Ike?
The 19-9 is obvious, like you said, but I think it's the defense that suffered. He was their anchor. He was the back line. He would talk and direct as a center fielder. And on offensively, he was a 6'10" target inside that you could throw him the ball.
Out of Overland High School, Aurora, Colorado. Those are like bowling pins going down right there.
I heard that one all the way over here.
Rice. Degenhart trying to get toward the hoop. Spins. No look pass. And a flush by Najee Smith.
What athleticism. I like that Barnhart was over there trying to defend, but that was just the will of War and Smith with the emphatic finish.
Reynolds pulls up. Left-handed shot goes.
See, that's the shot I like. I know he can shoot it from the perimeter, but I thought one of the biggest keys was for him to be able tonight to get down the lane and put pressure on that defense to get points.
He's got 13 now. Degenhart throws it to the corner. Najee Smith, another three.
Boise State clicking on all cylinders in terms of the push game. No go. Now they're working on their space and just getting wide open shots like they would in a practice.
Broncos with 4 guys on the floor right now in double figures. Smith with 13. And Shaver is pushing a double-digit rebounding night. Kicks it out. Can Smith do it again? Long that time.
I'd like to see Wyoming pick Shaver up a little bit higher and just sort of slow his roll and give his other 4 players a little bit more time to get set defensively with 4 butts to the baseline.
Bob on the rebound.
So right now he's just coming down free flowing and he's surveying. He's looking inside to Smith, no go. He's going to try and get downhill.
Shaver kicks it out. Bob got it. Just drains the 3. And Boise State is on an absolute roll. Their largest lead of the game now at 22 points halfway through the second half.
It took Abo a while to get started, but he was able to do it in a variety of ways. The 3-ball was good to him. Here, just a nice little toss back. With his feet set, he's able to catch that rhythm. He wanted a foul there with the nice little European step going over the big. And what do you do when you've got dribble penetration? You just spot up outside the 3. He's got 16 points, Tim, was 4 of 8 from 3. And the stat that I like most, at 6'7", he's got 8 rebounds. I want to see him get 2 more rebounds to get that double-double.
His season high, 24 points against Loyola Chicago. It's also his career high. So that is still within reach with 10 minutes to go. As he waits for the floor to get cleaned up. We get back to activity. Again, we were talking about one of Wyoming's biggest missing persons right now, and that is Graham Ike, the guy who they hope to get back. There's no timetable on his return yet. Again, that's a tough thing for Wyoming to swallow, how good of a player he is. But what about the next level for him?
Well, I tell you, at 6'10", a 7.5 feet wingspan, he's got hands. I saw today at shoot-around bigger than Kawhi Leonard, and I think it's his intelligence and his competitiveness that's going to separate him from others. I mean, with him coming back, he's got to feel good because there's a lot of tread on those tires. He's going to play somewhere at the next level, Tim.
A whistle and a foul along the baseline. That will be on Abo.
And I tell you, coming to practice the other day when I got in here early, he was sitting there getting his treatment. He was engaged as on the bench as an assistant coach. I mean, it really told me that he's got a clue of the schemes and things that they want to do as a team. So he's right on track. It's just going to be getting ready, and most importantly, he's got to feel ready to get out there and play.
Abo, another rebound. Boise State with the basketball. This is the 3rd game this season that Wyoming has found themselves trailing by 20 or more. Najee Smith the miss, Powell the rebound.
Well, what's hard is, and they may have had the most injuries and missed games in college basketball, but you just get deep into that hole and you just can't sub freely because you've got such a thin bench.
No one's making any excuses in Wyoming. The fact of the matter is, They've had 8 players out due to injury or illness. And some nice ball movement there, finished up by Powell.
Well, you're exactly right. That's spot on. Jeff Linder's going to make no excuses. What you do is you keep coaching and you keep developing your talent. And sooner or later, they're going to get back. They're going to need to win 4 games in Las Vegas to be able to make a NCAA tournament bid.
Nice cut underneath. Takes it back outside. Degenhart to Whiting. 5 seconds on the timer. Najee Smith knocks a man down. Powell went down.
Well, the freshman did a good job of getting his feet set. It was that wall-up defense, and in that possession we saw, okay, Wyoming wall up a couple of times, but he takes it right here. Let's get a better look. Right here, he sort of squared up. Absolutely, that was a charge. His feet were set. He played textbook defense. He took the hit on the chest. There was not a flop there.
Najee Smith, the foul, his 3rd. This ball battled for. Near the stripe. Powell got a hold of it. Possession arrow favoring Boise State. Waiting to check in is Lucas Milner. And he will get Najee Smith out of there for the time being.
Well, he's an interesting player. You know, we've seen some pretty good post defense on him. I like the way in games past he hits the offensive glass, and he also brings them another rim protector on that other end defensively if Wyoming's going to start getting down the tunnel to get to the rim. I don't like how he puts the ball above his head like that. I think you need to keep it, you know, between your ear and your chin and then fake a pass to make a pass.
Maldonado finding Odin, and he cannot finish. If you're Wyoming down at this point in the game, it's just possession by possession right now, right?
Yeah, but it starts on the defensive end. You know, you trade baskets, you go home with the loss. They've got to get stops. And it's 7.5 minutes. I mean, they're up 20. Wyoming is going to have to defend multiple possessions. Wyoming up 20 in Wyoming.
Boise State spinning their way to a 20-point lead, 69-49. Just under 8 minutes to go in the second half with Dave Miller. Tim Everett with you from Laramie. Well, let's take a look. This is the preseason poll. 4 first-place votes for Wyoming. They were picked second behind the Aztecs of San Diego State. That's before all the injuries and illness. And it's been sort of upside down. San Jose State is up higher. Nevada up higher. Utah State up higher.
Well, even New Mexico surprised me, coming out starting 14-0. I know they were picked 5th, but when you look at that, this game, when it was scheduled, you had 2 and 3 going in against each other, and it's always a hard contest regardless of the personnel. But, man, New Mexico was a surprise. And San Jose State, a huge, probably my biggest surprise in the Mountain West Conference thus far.
Well, Tim Miles turned it around at Colorado State. He's doing it again at San Jose State. Richard Pitino doing a terrific job at New Mexico. Great to see the Lobos getting sellout crowds again at the Pit. There's no place like the Pit when it's sold out.
Loudest place I ever coached a game. I was at the University of Texas against New Mexico with Gary Colson, I believe, and on the bench we could not hear each other talking because that sound goes up, it hits the roof, and it goes. It's almost deafening.
It has as many decibels as an aircraft engine.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're right.
It is really loud in there.
Yeah. But you know, the New Mexico deal, you know, I just think House and Mashburn have become more efficient because of the 2 bigs that demand that much attention, and they got to go to him. And I think they've got a kid that's going to be the freshman of the year down there, the Jenkins kid.
So Whiting knocks it down, 70-49.
And I'm sorry, 6th man of the year because he's not a freshman. I think he's definitely at the top of that list for me.
Road teams in the conference winning today. Air Force, Colorado State, New Mexico, and Boise State on top.
Tough to do in any league to come out and win on the road.
Flying rebound by Maldonado. Odin, step back jumper. Good. Jeremiah Odin, 7 points. Maldonado, he's easy to spot on the floor. He's got the frosted tips, and that's on purpose because he wants his grandmother to be able to pick him out a lot easier.
Wow. I mean, I've never had that problem because I don't have tips to frost. But now that you bring that up, I mean, that's a good point.
Well, as we get older, we get fewer tips too, Frost, right?
Well, I'm going to give you a tip right here. The shot goes up, and there you can see, easy call, Milner coming over his back after Maldonado got that inside position. You know, you look out there, and it's a 19-point game with 7:12 left. It's not over. I mean, I've seen larger scores and teams to come back. And again, Wyoming has that short bench, but it all starts on the other end defensively. Can they get some stops and then gain some valuable rhythm on the other end and not settle on the perimeter, but get downhill, also get to the free throw line? I'd like to see a little bit more in this last 7-12.
1 for 2 there for Maldonado. Double figures for him now, 10 points. Wyoming wants to talk things over. This is the 96th time in Maldonado's career he has scored at least 10 points in a game. So double-figure efforts for Maldonado as he continues to climb the scoring chart here in Wyoming. He'll be in the top 5. Who knows where he'll finish, but he's going to challenge the all-time leader, Fenestembo.
You know, if you're in that Boise huddle, if we could switch over to the Boise State, they really are talking in there about their principles and their coverages. And, you know, I think they've got to come out, they've got to guard the 3, because I think as time starts to diminish, we'll see more 3s. But in the ball screen action, I want to see it be 2-on-2 basketball. Boise State is great at the gap and go, and they want you to shoot contested shots. That's going to be my storyline as we finish out here from a defensive point of view.
Degenhart with a basketball. The shaver.
1-2-2 full court pressure right now by Wyoming. We haven't seen that yet.
Rice steps around a man, tries a 3, and a whistle underneath.
Well, I like the effort. I call it the EFT. When a shot goes up, you're seeing guys have that energy, focus, and toughness to try and rebound the basketball. Guys are still battling regardless of the score.
Foul will be called on Maldonado. That'll be his 3rd personal.
Good foul, trying to fight in there.
Oh, Milner, they just lost him.
Yeah, just lack of communication. You've got to man up, and then you've got to talk out the action.
Milner might not get an easier basket. Now Barnhart tries another 3. He's got it. He's 2 for 2 from way out there.
He's really had a positive effect coming into the game. You know, you look at him and you say, kind of skinny for a big, but there's guys that just eat a lot and they just burn up so many calories. He's going to be a good player in this league. Very skilled.
He's got something you can't teach, and that's 7 feet.
I thought you were going to say the red hair.
That too. A 7-footer. Redshirted last year. Nabo throws one up and gets the roll.
One of the first defensive plays I didn't like with Maldonado in terms of beating him to the spot, going left. Your right foot has to beat him there to hold that down.
Maldonado.
And the one thing they can't afford, Tim, is to have turnovers at that end of the floor. They've got to get a shot.
So Abo now the leading scorer in the game with 18. He had 17 against UNLV in the last outing. And his season high, career high, is 24. Najee Smith underneath with a reverse layup.
And credit Milner for going in there. Wyoming brought the ball down below their waist. They didn't chin it. That was easy picking out of the apple basket, and he shared the sugar for an easy deuce for his teammate.
Reynolds a little step back.
That's fatigue. You know, he's such a good player offensively. You know, the fadeaway tells me he's a little bit tired because you shoot the ball with your legs. Your right hand, and for him, your left hand, that's like a golf tee and then a fishing pole when you put it inside the rim.
Cut off now, Smith. He's got another. Oh, Najee Smith tonight. 18 points. 4 for 7 from 3.
Well, I don't even know if he could see Najee Smith, but he knew where he should be, and that was just sort of an over-the-shoulder pass. There you see the easy post feed for an easy deuce by Odin.
Yeah, great feed by Barnhart.
He's doing a little bit of everything, Tim.
Yes. Smith.
Don't reach, just keep him in front, level him off. Shea
was with 8 rebounds in the game right now. forced that shot up there.
A little bit of theatrics, trying to draw the foul.
And he does draw the foul that time.
You know, the one thing, Tim, that I have never seen in a college basketball game are two teams that back down somebody, that flip their hips, trying to get into the post. There you see on the kick out, splits two defenders, and you can see where the contact came from the backside that time.
Shaver will be heading to the line, and he is flirting with a triple-double. He has 9 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists. That's a pretty well-balanced game.
Not afraid to take shots, not afraid to be able to dish. I sort of would say he is that engine that makes this Boise State team run.
He's still not in double figures, but he'll have another chance. Here comes Ethan Anderson back in the game. Well, the last Bronco player to have a triple-double was Chandler Hutchinson, 2017 against Portland. And he had 20 points and 10 rebounds in that game. Shaver will head out, and he's still just shy of those numbers. Second straight game, all 5 starters for Boise State, scoring in double figures.
Well, the way this game was going to be drawn up, Boise State wanted to have this game in the 70s and 80s. For Wyoming to win, it would have to have been 60-65.
Under 4 minutes to go. Nice the bounce pass to Smith.
Little mismatch there in size with Anderson on Smith, but not in strength.
Smith almost lost the dribble, recovered, and a rebound taken down by Barnhart. Anderson trying to thread the needle. Maldonado is there in the receiving end and finishes. Points for Hunter Maldonado.
Way to get over that screen by Dussel.
Rice, 3. Rice had a big first half, and now he scores here with a 3-pointer in the second half. A point total of 15 for Max Rice.
Great rotation on that ball when it left his finger pads.
Rice with a big night tonight, 15 points for the Boise State Broncos. One of the reasons for Boise State's success tonight, the 3-point shooting of Najee Smith.
He did it from outside there. He dived to the basket. It was a great dish. And what does he do? He just spaces up and he lets the 3-ball go. I mean, 18 points, 4 for 7 from 3, 7 rebounds. I mean, Tim, talk about this young man coming a long way. A junior college All-American that didn't have the 3-ball in his bag, but it just goes to show you that if you work on your craft, you can be very versatile. At 6'7", he's an undersized big. So it's a matchup nightmare in this league because guys have to come out, and his teammates, when he's going, they have a great way of spreading the wealth and getting him good looks.
Not just Smith, but the 3-pointer in general has been a big part of Boise State's success tonight. 8 for 15 in the second half, shooting 53% from behind the arc in the second half.
Yeah, I just, when guys can space the ball, and it's more about we than me, that's when you know your offense is clicking, because when you share it, you get open looks.
Rice battling to get down the floor. Dussel guarding him. .246 left. Boise State trying to put a capper on their 14th win of the year, their 4th in Mountain West play.
See, Ogbong Polo can't get screened on that play. With that length and that athletic ability, again, I know what the score is, but you're playing right now for your next game. You know, I mean, this game is over. Put it in the refrigerator. But you got to get better. This is game situation. This is how you get better. You don't get better at practice once the season starts. It's more about scouts and, you know, tendencies. There's got to be an urgency to get better.
85-61, largest lead of the night. 24. So put it in the refrigerator. That's a Chick Hearn
Yeah, one of the greatest. I've had the pleasure of knowing him when I was with the Lakers on their broadcast, and you also have had the pleasure of being friends and working with Vince Scully. We're two very blessed broadcasters.
Kuzmanovic. And out to Barnhart. Bonpolo. Back to Anderson. There's a whistle and a timeout for Wyoming. 21 seconds on the timer. Minute 27 to go in the game. And Jeff Lindner wants to talk this over right now.
Well, this is interesting because this is a coach in both the huddles that are going to talk about situations regardless of the score.
Well, for Boise State, 2 road games here. They went to UNLV, went home to Boise, then here to Laramie. They'll be at home against Nevada. What a game that should be. Friday, they go to the Pit. And then back home against Fresno State. Wyoming will go down to Colorado Springs to take on the Air Force Academy at Clune Arena. And then Colorado State, a border war game on the 21st. And then they'll travel down to Las Vegas to take on UNLV.
You know, Tim, we can talk about their schedules, but when you see it up there on a graphic, it really hits you that every night is going to be a battle, and every night you better have your team prepared to meet the challenge.
Clune Arena at Air Force, not an easy place to play.
No, I used to coach at West Point, so I know what the academies are like, and they're doing a great job with more experienced players on that roster this season.
Anderson with a bucket, Whiting the foul. Charlie Spoonhour once told me when he was coaching at UNLV, he said going into play at Air Force is like going to the dentist and getting a cavity filled without Novocaine.
Yeah, I mean, he was spot on, but I can also say going into a bunch of those arenas we saw, there's a lot of people that could use some anesthesia when they get hit with that first punch. Because, I mean, when you go on the road, you got to hit first, and you know what your main goal is? Get the crowd out early so you can work, and that doesn't happen much.
Loose ball. Broncos got it. Whiting finds Smith, and that's knocked away by Powell. And that is Burke Smith. Redshirt sophomore forward, 6'11", getting some playing time here late in the game.
Well, he's gained some valuable minutes and going to be a good player for the Pokes.
Tried the dead-on 3, and back the other way goes Wyoming. So, Boise State has attempted 33 three-point field goals tonight. 33. That's the most they've had in a non-overtime game since the 2020 season in the game on the 29th of November.
Well, what's crazy about that, they defend the 3 as good as anybody in the country. I think, it's 28% for opponents that shoot the 3 ball. So, I think this team can become elite defensively. They've got all the pieces. They're connected. They lost a lot of guys last year from a really good team that won a regular season championship, a postseason championship. This is a developmental program. You don't get many one-and-dones at Boise State, and it just shows you that college basketball has gone old, and now teams want to stay old because of the experience.
Inside of a minute. There's Smith trying to get to the bucket. And the foul called underneath. Stop the clock with 31 4/10 seconds remaining. So just a 2 4/10 differential, shot clock to game clock. Just looking down the other way. So it's not getting much easier right now for the Cowboys. They'll drop to 0-5 in Mountain West play. But again, this is a team that hopes to get more players back as the season goes along, and who knows, they might be hitting a stride sometime in early March.
Well, they certainly haven't lost their fight, and the coaching staff is going to continue to try and get them better, put them in a position to win. We were fortunate enough to see both shoot-arounds today, and you've got 2 highly skilled coaches that used to be on the same staff together. A lot of similarities, but they can X and O's. They just need to get some of their Joes healthy if you're on the Wyoming side. Shadrach
Ngonga with the basketball. State has the starters out. They're spreading the floor. They're going to run it down. 85-68. That's how it ends up, and Boise State goes to 14-4, 4-1 in conference play. Wyoming drops to 5-12, 0-5 in Mountain West play.
Well, it was a big night for Abo and Smith. They combined for 36 points, and as you said, the three ball was their friend. Boise State, a well-oiled machine. They continue to win. They're trying to secure a spot and participate in March Madness.
Well, that's going to do it. The Boise State Broncos come into Laramie and at high altitude pull off a victory. 85-68. My partner Dave Miller and our entire crew here in Laramie. I'm Tim Everett. Thanks for watching college basketball tonight from the Mountain West on FS1. Again, 85-68, Boise State over Wyoming. Have a great night, everybody. Stand by. We'll send you back to our Fox studios where Mike Hill is standing by.